My girlfriend refuses to do anything with her life and lives by leeching off me. She wouldn't let me break up with her, so I had to resort to extreme measures to get my way, plus 5 updates. About 2 years ago, my girlfriend dropped out of college, and since then, she's become a pathetic and disgusting human being. I know that sounds bad, but I literally work 50 to 60-hour weeks to sustain us because she's too pretty to work. Just today, I came home at 6 p.m. to find her in bed, surrounded with half-eaten takeout boxes, having not showered or brushed her teeth, with the only time she's gotten out of bed being to go to the door and collect her takeout. I had a rough day at work, and seeing this tipped me over. I raised my voice saying she can't live like this, and in response, she became physically violent. I wanted to break up with her there and then, but she guilt-tripped me, saying she has no one to turn to. She stayed in bed for the rest of the day, and a few hours later I came into her room telling her I can't do this. I don't care who she turns to, but I cannot, for my own mental health, be with her. She tried guilt-tripping me again, but when that didn't work, she got out of bed. She ran to the kitchen, grabbed a pair of scissors, and threatened to unalive herself. I didn't risk calling her bluff, and agreed to stay with her. She's currently sleeping, and I've decided I'm going to break up with her tomorrow. If she does that again and goes through with it, not my fault. I don't care. Update 1. Last night when we were both getting ready for bed, I didn't take my clothes off, and instead just stood there telling her we needed to talk. At first, she was just smiling and jumping up and down on the bed with her knees, thinking I wasn't as serious as I was, but eventually, she was able to read the mood. I told her something wasn't feeling right anymore, that I've tried to make this work and be patient with her for the past few years, but I didn't know how much more time I was willing to spend waiting for her to get a job, go back to school, or just get a hobby if anything. I told her that it annoyed and grated me that she just didn't seem to care about herself, and that I hated she had no goals or aspirations. This was probably the first time in a long time she was as attentive as she's ever been during this conversation. I was incredibly taken aback. She agreed to whatever I was saying, even also giving suggestions on where she can apply, what courses were starting to interest her, and even said I could look over her as she submitted applications online to make sure she wasn't lying. I was in disbelief. In her head, it seemed like I was still willing to make this work, and a part of me believed this would finally be the moment that she would change. So it made the next part even harder for me and for her. At first, I told her I didn't love her the same way, which slowly but eventually led to me saying I didn't feel anything at all about this relationship and was jaded. I was tired and wanted a fresh start with someone who was more goal-oriented and wanted something more out of life. When she realized what I was getting at, she started to cry and asked why I didn't mention this sooner, and I said I've always asked her to cook, to go out with me to try something out, or to just go back to school, even when I offered to pay for her classes. Anything. She said she understands